On this episode of the Sports Opinions podcast, my good buddy and mega Boston sports fan, which hurts a little, but one of my best friends, Kevin Viccaro from Marist College, comes on the show. And as you can guess it, we're talking everything Boston sports. We're talking about Kyrie Irving and the way he left the Celtics, the current Celtics, and Kemba Walker, and if he's the leader that they need to get them to the promised land. A little bit of Patriots talk, and then we talk some Boston Bruins who are absolutely dominating the NHL right now. So without any further ado, enjoy the show. What's up, sports fans, and welcome to the Sports Opinions podcast. I'm your host, as always, Alex Cuesta. With me today is a guy that it's weirdly enough, been well over a decade that I've known him, which it seems like it was yesterday that we met each other and I found out he was a Boston fan, and that kind of turned me off a little. But then I talked to him and I guess he's okay. And it seems like lately, every time we hang out, I manage to sincerely piss him off, which has just kind of become a goal of my life right now. But he's my good buddy, one of my best friends from Marist College, Kevin Viccaro. What's going on, Keva?
Hey, how's it going, Cuesta? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, and happy Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving Eve that we're recording tonight, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone. That'll hopefully be listening to this over the holiday, but probably tough to listen to a podcast. So if you're listening to it Monday or whatever on your drive, happy Thanksgiving, belated. But it's also fitting that me and you were talking tonight, Kevo. That's going to roll us right into our first topic, because our Nets and Celtics are playing tonight.
Yep.
And so far, it's a pretty good game. It's on ESPN, so every time it's on ESPN, my hope as a Nets fan is that they just don't go and lay an egg, because they've typically laid an egg on national TV a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
But
but
overall, it's going pretty well. We have to talk, though.
Yes.
Because there's someone noticeably missing from this game.
There is. That used to play on both teams, and now he has a shoulder injury. And, you know, I was always on Team Kyrie up until this latest incident. You know, I feel like he's copping out. I honestly, I don't know the injury. I'm not mad about him leaving the Celtics. I'm mad about the way that he left the Celtics. And, you know, I can't say anything as a fan, because when we break it down, you know, it's basically, it's sports. It's supposed to be fun, but I mean, he has like impingement syndrome in his rotator cuff, or like some sort of tendonitis in his shoulder. But I just found it interesting that the 3 games that he missed are the 3 fan bases that kind of despise him the most.
Well, you could be honest. You said it right when we text each other. You're saying he dodged these games. That's how you believe. You feel like he dodged Cleveland, New York, and Boston.
And Boston. I mean, yeah, there's again, like I will never knock a player for leaving for more money or leaving for like any other administrative reasons. But the way that Kyrie left, like, that did leave a bad taste in my mouth. I would still root for him up until this. Like, this is where I turn the corner and I am saying, you know, fuck Kyrie.
Now, did you see that? I guess the Boston fans put up a billboard that says Kyrie the Coward.
I did not see that, actually.
I think it's right at the front gate of the Garden.
I'm sure it is.
You know, Boston fans are awful human beings. That's been just documented. But that is hilarious that they
some
did
of
that.
them are. But hold on, before we get into to real discussion, I do want to say, and I think, Cuesta, you can back me up. Like, yeah, we've disagreed on a lot of different things, but as a Boston sports fan, I feel like I have been extremely rational in a lot of situations, and I've given credit where credit is due throughout the years.
Definitely. And I feel like me and you have both been simpatico in that way, yes. Where even though I hate Boston, you hate New York, you know, when it's due, like, I hate Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's a douchebag, but he's the greatest quarterback to play the game. And if he decided he wanted to lead the Patriots tomorrow and come to the Jets, I'd kick Sam Darnold out in 2 seconds. Like,
I would take Sam Darnold And we'll get to that later. But
We will get to that. But
yeah.
so overall, did you see, because I watched today and I found it interesting considering that we were going to talk about Kyrie tonight on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Nichols of ESPN did an interview with the general manager of the Celtics, Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge. Yep.
It was on Instagram. I watched it. It's like a 6-minute clip.
Yep.
And in the beginning, he talks about Kyrie. And he says he took all the blame for what happened last year with Kyrie, saying basically that the team that he put together with Brad Stevens was too deep, that there was too much talent on that team, that before Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving got there, guys like Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart,
Right.
Jaylen Brown kind of made their
Al
bones in
Horford.
the playoffs. Al Horford.
And Baines.
And they all made their bones the year before in the playoffs. And then you bring in these guys in Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving who are definitely more talented than those guys at that point in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
But they're looking at these guys going, man, we're next. I don't care who you two are. We're next.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that he took the blame. Do you kind of agree with Ainge that he kind of went for an all-star team and didn't build a real team there?
No, I think he was expecting more out of Kyrie. And actually, at the end of that interview, he takes a shot at Kyrie, saying, because they ask him about Kemba, and he says, I thought we could win with the pieces that we had, but I just think that brings out the biggest flaw in Kyrie's game is that he's not a leader. He cannot lead a team. And given like the fact that how young they were, the Celtics were, and like right now how young the Nets are, he cannot lead a great team. Like right now, it's eerily, I was looking it up yesterday. Like it's eerily reminiscent of the Celtics with the Nets with Kyrie, even when he wasn't injured. So the Nets are what, 9-8 right now?
Yep.
And they've won 5 of 6 without Kyrie while he's been out. And that was eerily reminiscent of the Celtics during the playoffs 2 years ago.
The difference is, to me, and you being a Boston fan, you could definitely look at this, a different way, and it'll be good to get your insight considering Kyrie was there.
Right.
To me, the difference is that last year in Boston, although Al Horford was there as the veteran, he's not really an outspoken veteran. He's not the type of guy that will take over a team.
Mm-mm.
Where the Nets now have Spencer Dinwiddie, and I don't think Spencer Dinwiddie will hesitate to tell Kyrie, like, you're the superstar, but this is my group.
Right.
Before Kevin gets there. And I think that difference, and Kyrie and Spencer are friends. So I don't know if Kyrie would necessarily take that as a slight or if he'd take that as awesome. And I don't think Spencer cares if Kyrie gets a spotlight as long as they win games.
Like maybe some positive criticism, like at least take that and work on it. No, I don't think he would have taken that, not even from Al Horford. Like maybe if there was, like I said, the Celtics were young, like when Kyrie was there, and like, is he going to take it from the team leader? And let's be honest, the team leader on the Celtics right now is split, but it's still connected. I still think it's Kemba, and Marcus Smart is the heart of the team.
I think Marcus Smart has been the heart of the team, and I think even last year he was the heart of the team. And
he has been.
And Marcus Smart was my favorite player. How many years has it been in the league now? 4 or 5 years. He came out of
OSU.
He was my favorite player in college. I remember he almost fought that fan or whatever that went on, and the fan that deserved it. I think he dropped an N-bomb at him.
Yep.
But it was Marcus Smart, just his grit, and he's not the best player. He's not the most player, but he's the hardest working player.
However, yeah, and that's what I love. Like, that's what I want in a player. Like, I want that player on my team every single time. And he's a player that frustrates you when he's not on your team. Like, and before we get to the Bruins, but I'll say, like, that's a Brad Marchand.
Brad Marchand is just an awful person. Marcus Smart's at least likable. Brad Marchand isn't. But we're going to stick to the Celtics for a second. We'll talk about Marchand.
Okay. All right.
That transitions us into the Celtics part of it. Get away from Kyrie. So whatever it is with Kyrie, the jury's still out on him with the Nets.
Yep.
But we'll see what it becomes. We might revisit this podcast, next year when Kevin Durant's back. And if Kyrie shells up, we'll know our answer.
Right. Because if he has another superstar behind him, then maybe he'll actually, when they have two people together that are superstars, like maybe they can actually do something, because I honestly think Kyrie can't lead a team, but
we shall see this year. This year will definitely be a test because the Nets, I think, have enough depth to be decent, but Kyrie's the factor.
Yep.
Oh, but moving on to Kemba. So my theory with Kemba, I love Kemba Walker. I think Kemba Walker has been the most disrespected superstar in the game for a long time. But there has to be something to be said with what Ainge said, that, having Kemba there and he's better. I also think it has to do with the fact that, let's be blunt, in terms of talent, Kemba's not as good as Kyrie. He's a very talented player.
Yeah.
He has to work a lot harder to do what he does than Kyrie in terms of scoring.
I 100% agree. And
that possibly helps, though.
The fact that he actually has to work at it, and for the listeners that don't know, like, I'm from Connecticut. I grew up watching UConn basketball, and I grew up watching all of those superstars like coming out of the woodworks, like Rip Hamilton. Actually, first Ray Allen.
Jesus Shuttlesworth, baby. Oh. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm watching on delay the Nets and Celtics game, and I saw Jared Allen with the big block. I'm going to react to this. I know Kevin's already saw this. I'm using it on the Fire Stick.
Yeah.
I'm watching, not technically live, I guess. It's a delay, but that was awesome. Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
But, so under Jim Calhoun, I mean, he had Ray Allen. He had Rip Hamilton. He had Caron Butler. He had Rudy Gay. He had Kevin Ollie was, I think, the coach of Andre Drummond, who, but like watching all of those stars and watching that progression for UConn dominated both in men and women's basketball for years and years and years. So I grew up with that because I grew up in East Bumblefuck, Connecticut.
How do you say your high school's name? Coggins?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a river. But yeah, it's a Native American tribe that was there. But yeah, right. Literally, I live in the middle of Connecticut. So right in between the split of New York and Massachusetts.
Yep.
And I chose the right way. Actually, my great-grandfather used to work for the Red Sox, and my mother is from Massachusetts. So that's why I affiliated with Boston sports.
Well, you would have seen championships more younger, but now you're seeing more in your remembering years.
Right. Well, no, I still remember. What I used to do, and it sucks that this happened. And this is quickly changing topics. But in college basketball, when the Big East used to be like UConn, Villanova, who else? Oh shit!
UConn, Nova, Syracuse.
Yeah, Syracuse. Like that was the Big East, until they changed conferences, I used to go to the Big East tournament every single year, and it was phenomenal because you would go to MSG, you would see all of these fantastic basketball games, and like that happened to be the era of like Rip Hamilton, Khalid El-Amin, Jake Voskuhl, who wasn't that good. He was just weird and white and tall. You can look him up. Go ahead. I still remember Jake Voskuhl. He used to have slick back hair. But no, I loved Kemba Walker. Like he was cardiac Kemba, and that's where it came about. I mean, that was Jim Calhoun's, I believe, his last championship in 2010 or 2011. When Kemba won the championship with UConn, like watching that tournament was unreal. March Madness, like it was phenomenal. And he proved that he could be a fantastic player. And the fact that he has put up with all of the Hornets, like crap, like that has just been coming out, and that he has kept his attitude just speaks to the volume of the kind of character that he holds when he walks onto a basketball court. And that is 10 times, 1,000 times, million times better than what Kyrie showed, especially during the playoffs last year.
Well, Kemba definitely, he seems to have a better, more even demeanor, so that helps. Now, that might help in the next thing that I want to ask you about.
Yep.
So the East is a lot deeper than it's been in years.
Mm-hmm.
The league is pretty wide open, especially with injuries happening, and now the big two instead of the big three seems to be the thing.
Yep.
The Celtics are as talented a basketball team as anybody else, and that's minus Gordon Hayward, who's going to come back before the end of this year,
Right.
who was playing at a superstar level again before he got hurt.
Yep.
Can they match up well with the reigning MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks, who are also super deep?
Right.
And the Sixers, who, even though I think they laid an egg last night, Joel Embiid had like 0 points and 0 anything.
Yep.
But that's still a super talented, super deep team. Al Horford went there from the Celtics over to the Sixers. Mm-hmm. Can they match up? Because right now, currently, record-wise, they're the best team in the East. But when push comes to shove, is Kemba Walker enough of a superstar to compete with the Giannis Antetokounmpos and the Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid?
I think that Kemba has the mindset. I think his mindset is higher than Giannis. Than like we saw Embiid like get frustrated, and there was the play. Who did they play?
Jared Dudley got in his head in the first round of last year. So it's like if Jared Dudley gets in your head, then you're in trouble.
Now, and I hate that the Celtics lost Aaron Baines, because he was a great defender against the bigs. So, like, against
Aaron
Giannis,
Baines is Boston. He literally looked like Boston. Like, you could walk into
but he's
a bar
Australian.
and he would just look like... Yeah, but Boston, Australia, criminals, it really all makes sense. But
does it?
It does.
Sure.
It does.
But yeah, Aaron, like, that was a tough loss. Like, he loves Boston. Boston loves him. And he was great because he was so physical with those big guys. Now, Marcus is great with those big guys, but he's like, what, 6'4"? Like,
they're going small this year in a conference that still likes their bigs, because Brook Lopez is a big dude. He's not he's a better defender and he gets credit for it. He changes a lot of shots,
right?
But he's just a big body to deal with down there.
Yeah,
and a great scorer.
Aaron Baines was a big body down there. And
exactly.
He would be so physical with them, and Marcus is so physical, but he's about a foot shorter than like anyone that he goes up against.
And he's not Barkley, he's not Rodman, he's not Ben Wallace, those super small guys that can deal with those big guys.
Yeah, Barkley's what, like 6'4", 6'5"?
On a good day, and Dennis Rodman was 6'6" maybe, and it's like they were very good. They were more positioning, where Marcus is more of a scorer that can play defense. It's a different type of guy.
I disagree with you. I think he's a player that can play defense. This season, however, Marcus has improved with three-point shooting, which has been his biggest flaw. So now, like, he has shown that, over however many games, like, it's been less than 20 games, but he can actually shoot a three.
So are you confident that the Celtics get to the finals at this point in the season? It's early.
The finals? No.
The finals. No, you don't think they're getting past the Bucks and the Sixers? At
this point, I don't know, because of the injuries. I'm confident in them always. Like right now they're losing to the Nets, who
are a good team. They're I can say with confidence they are a good team.
They're in the 7. They're number 7, but like if they could get past if they could be a team like Siakam on the Raptors, he constantly kills the Celtics.
Yeah, Siakam's talented.
Yeah, and they have no answer for him. So, like, seeing that, like, that raises red flags, and I don't know. However, I will say that, like, even in the Sacramento games that they won and they lost, or they lost and they won, like, those games have been entertaining. And that's basically, as a fan, that's all I want. I want to see the players happy. If they make the playoffs, or when they make the playoffs, if they make the finals, I'll be happy for that. If they lose, it is what it is. But I feel like they are such a much more cohesive group, sans Kyrie, and they're even saying it like out loud. They're saying we're having more fun because it's a group that's like
they like each other.
Yeah, they definitely do. They're one common group. There's not one, because if the leader sets the tone, the leader is supposed to set the tone for the entire group, but if one is being
negative,
shall I say,
yes,
shall I say, a little bitch, and like taking the entire team down, then that's how the entire team is going to feel. Like,
so you just gave me the perfect opening and transition
Yep.
to our next topic,
okay,
the Patriots, because you're
Yes.
speaking of someone who's currently acting like a little bitch,
yes,
and surprisingly so.
Hey,
Surprisingly so, because
Yep.
he's not like this normally, and
But
it could be merited. Tom Brady has been a whiny little bitch lately.
but I 100% agree with you.
But it's merited. But you know what? I think we're on two ends of the spectrum here, because I think Brady is, I think he's in the right here. His weapons are all being taken away from him. His running game's not as good. His line's not performing as good as normal.
Yep.
And they're winning only defensively and special teams.
And that's why Bill is so happy.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I think Bill's happy with the rings, and the Patriots aren't going to win a ring with just defense. They need to get a cohesive. The offense used to be good. Even when the Patriots were defensive-minded, the offense could at least flip the field. This offense isn't even flipping the field anymore.
Right.
So are you on Brady's side with being pissed? Because I know you kind of said you were tired of his shit.
Yeah,
So.
I am. Because, honestly, he's not mobile. I mean, take the last 5 seconds of the last game. He could have shuffled his feet a little more. And as we know, he is not a mobile quarterback, but he could have shuffled his feet a little more and taken off that little bit of time so that there wasn't that controversy at the end of that last game. So I don't know. I really, and even Boston Sports Radio, they're saying, like, Brady's frustrated because Bill is really happy. Bill is really happy because Brady's frustrated. And there's that rift there because it is a contract year. Bill's happy because it's him and his son running the defense, and the defense has been phenomenal.
Now, I have to ask you real quick. Is this just Boston media eating up the ESPN nonsense? Because ESPN is trying to drum up this rift between Belichick and Brady for the past 4 or 5 seasons, I have to say. They've been trying to find anything. And I feel like you guys have finally just given in and have picked Belichick over Brady. I feel like that's where Boston is going right now. They're picking Belichick over Brady.
There's always been a rift, but there's always been a mutual understanding, I feel like, between coach and quarterback. And they've always had this mutual respect for each other. And
but where's the respect for Tom when he keeps on taking away his weapons and keeps on and hasn't really given him a running game? Sony Michel isn't doing it, but I also see that the committee isn't working as well. Where was James White last game?
James White,
Where was
Sony Michel, yeah.
They didn't use him, and he's their best weapon out the backfield. Sony Michel's a good runner, but James White is easily their best weapon out of the backfield, and you didn't see him last game.
Right. I mean, but then like you bring in like the people that they've gotten rid of. Like, would you have kept we don't know what happened with Josh Gordon. We don't know what happened, or we do know what happened with AB because he made it public and he's
an idiot,
fucking insane. But
he's out of his mind.
Yeah. But Tom Brady, I feel like he really, really wanted AB to stay, but it was all the shit that he was doing outside of Foxborough that really they had
drove them to get him out of there. But he also wanted to keep Demaryius Thomas, and I don't understand why the Patriots got rid of Demaryius Thomas. Yes, he's unsteady sometimes, but he's an exact Patriot wide receiver. He does his job, keeps his mouth shut, and makes plays when he needs to make them.
But hasn't he had I haven't seen his stats, but hasn't he had a decent season?
Yeah, he's playing.
He's on the Seahawks,
rhythm.
Right?
No, he's on the Jets.
Jets. Oh, that's right.
He found his rhythm on the Jets right now. Him and Sam have been playing well, and he's dropped a lot less. I say that now. He's going to drop like 9 passes against the Bengals and be the reason why we lose now. Yeah. But I mean, he's had a good year, and I feel like he could have been really helpful for Tom Brady.
Preseason game 4. I mean, he had he had a crazy amount of touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns in preseason game 4, which no one cares about, and then he got cut. I don't know what's going on with that.
The Jets gave up a conditional 6th.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's a little crazy to me for a guy, Demaryius Thomas, who was a potential MVP of the Super Bowl.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's wild.
I know. I don't know what's going on in Foxborough that much. I mean, the defense is playing great. Special teams, I mean, what's his face? God, not
Slater?
Stephon Gilmore. No, yes, Matthew Slater. He was just named player
Player of the week for the special
play,
teams.
yeah. Thank
Matt
you.
Slater is just, I think he can make the Hall of Fame. Like, if they ever put in a special team Hall of Famer,
All
it
right.
could be Matthew Slater.
Well, I do you know about like his history? Like his dad is
No, I don't know. I don't know his history. I just know that he was
his dad
supposed
is
to be a starter, and then all of a
his
sudden
dad,
he just found a niche in special teams.
yeah, and he's been phenomenal. His dad is a Hall of Famer for the Rams, but he was a lineman. He's probably like 200 pounds heavier than Matthew Slater. And also Matthew, I swear, like if you look up an interview, they have an interview with Matthew Slater and his father, and it's hilarious to see how big one is and how little one is. And Matthew Slater, and they make fun of it on they don't make fun of it, and actually they brought it up with Matthew Slater. Like, he is a giant nerd. He has these giant glasses, and
There's nothing wrong with that.
no, I never said there was nothing wrong with that.
Don't make fun of us nerds, Kimbo.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm a fucking nerd too. But he has these giant glasses, but he talks like Urkel too.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so next time, like, if you get
I now
time,
have to go watch interviews.
yeah,
I have to watch them now.
there was one during one of the Super Bowls where it's him and his dad is massive. He played for the Rams, and he's in the Hall of Fame. I think his name is James Slater. I'm not positive, but yeah, Matthew Slater is just like this big nerd, and he actually talks like this, and he has sinus infections, and he's talked about it.
I can imagine Boston Sports Radio just eats that up.
Right. Well, actually, with Boston Sports Radio, now that you mention it, and I think I mentioned it before to you, at least, like the two guys that I listened to, Toucher and Rich on 98.5.
Yeah, they did the Big Bang clap.
Yes, the Big Bang clap. But Fred Toucher, he's a Jets fan. He's a Cardinals fan. Like, the only team that he likes in the city is Boston. So, like, he's big on Sammy D, and he's very critical of all of Boston sports, but they've been on for 10 years. So they're doing something right.
Yeah. So I have to ask you, is this the best defense that you've ever seen under Belichick? Because they've had some stories defenses with McGinnis, with Vrabel, with, Ninkovich, and they've gone down the line with, Rodney Harrison being arguably the best safety in Patriots history. Like, great teams. And right now he's assembled two elder statesmen in the McCourtys. Yep. He has,
which is amazing.
Which is amazing how well they've been playing. One's hurt right now, but Rutgers pride there, baby. But still, it's amazing what he's been able to do. And honestly, it's funny because you have a guy like Kyle Van Noy, who I don't think any other team would have really started, and he's just up and down the field, and he's a sideline linebacker for the Patriots.
He's been a force this year. And
so, was this the best you've ever seen? Or have you seen better? In this era of passing and not really being allowed to play defense, like,
that's true. Not being able to even breathe on the quarterback.
No, you can't, especially if his name is Tom Brady.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I would agree with that. Yeah.
Hey, he complained a lot last game and didn't get calls though.
Yeah,
I think refs are starting to get tired of him too.
I would agree, and you know what? I don't fault them for that. But in terms of best defenses, I mean, there were some great ones. Like, oh god, that first Giants loss in the Super Bowl.
What was that? Rodney Harrison.
That was Rodney
Harrison. You had Mike Vrabel. You had just Teddy Bruschi. Was Junior Seau on the team that year still?
No, I think that was a little after. I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me on that.
But that was was that Ninkovich's rookie year when he was just coming into his own, I believe? Like, that was a team that was pretty nuts.
And then the teams with Jamie Collins, like, now he's back on the team. Like, he went to the Browns to get money, which I don't knock him for. He went to the Browns. They sucked. And then he came back to the Patriots.
So can we talk about a quick conspiracy? Not to go off on too big of a side, but I have a conspiracy that Bill Belichick has something on the Browns owner because he was the head coach there for a
Yep.
little,
Got fired.
but I feel like he has something because whenever he has a problem player that has a lot of talent that he might want to get back in the future, he sends him to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
He does it he did it to Chandler Jones. He does it to Jamie Collins. And, the good guys that he likes, like your Logan Ryans or even your McCourties, like they can go to whatever team they want if they want to leave. It's no big deal. You did your time. But if he's like, you're a douche, but you're talented, I might want you back, you're young enough, you're going to go to the Browns and you're going to learn your lesson. Like, I feel like he has something over that whole franchise.
You know what? He could. I mean, given his ties there, and I wouldn't blame him because the Browns have been a horrendous organization for however many years.
Since they've come back, basically.
Yeah, you're going to go into timeout, and then when you come back, you're going to realize, like, hey, all you got to do is just listen to what I say, do what I say, and then we're good. You'll get paid, and then you'll probably get a ring. So, no, I don't disagree with that. Like, I could definitely see that being a conspiracy theory that plays out. I
love peddling those conspiracy theories. And speaking of other conspiracy theories, how the hell do the Bruins keep on being good all the time? All the time. They their one down year is, we didn't make the finals. That's the Boston Bruins down year over the last 15 years.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that Bruce Cassidy is a fantastic coach. And Claude Julien, which I love that this happened the day before that I came on the podcast.
I don't.
I mean, he looks like Bill from King of the Hill. If you look at a side-by-side comparison, Claude Julien looks like Bill from – I mean, I swear, there's pictures of them together, and they look exactly alike. But Bruce Cassidy has been a fantastic coach. He's been open and honest about, when his players have not been playing well, and they have risen to the occasion. And it definitely helps that, Pasta has been probably the best player right now in the NHL. Like right now, he's leading the league in goals. Brad Marchand is leading in plus minus. Pasta is leading in power play goals with 12. Like, it's just been their first line is untouchable right now. Like the way that they're playing. I haven't flipped over back to the Ottawa game because I've been watching the Celtics and they're losing. So I'm about that. But the Celtics have just been, or the Bruins have just been
clicking on all cylinders.
I think it starts with the coaching, and it took Pasta a couple years to rise to the occasion. I mean, it also helps with the coaching of fucking 900-year-old Zdeno Chara, who somehow is still kicking.
And somehow people are still scared of him. You just have to kind of lure him with a Viagra or something and be like, get out of here, dude. You're old. Go somewhere.
Yeah, but the fact that
it's still working. I don't get it.
Yeah, it is. And it's fun to watch, honestly. And I know as you as a Canadians fan, it probably wouldn't be fun. However, for me, it was just
no, last night was not fun.
It was like tic-tac-toe. Like, they just had it so in sync. And the fact that they have two unreal goalies that what I feel like they're going to do for the rest of the season, because they're having such a great season, I feel like that they're going to start alternating them instead of playing Rask 2 days and then Halak a day. I feel like they're going to start alternating just to keep rest up.
I definitely think they're going to do that. And I was going to mention that because I feel like hockey's been going that way a lot, where a lot of teams aren't looking for the one great goalie. I feel like the one great goalie is gone.
Yeah,
I feel like you're looking for those two goalies that can one could take two games. You're looking for kind of a 70-30, 65-35 type of split. But you have guys there that honestly, and they usually do it until the playoffs. And in the playoffs, they ride the hot hand for a series, other hot hand for a series, Stanley Cup, they pick their favorite.
Yep.
That's going to be a problem, a good problem for the Bruins come playoff time. Because I feel like you want to get your goalies that have a rhythm there and that are playing better there. But who's going to be playing better between Rask and Halak? I feel like at this point, Rask has been more proven, but Halak, if he's being consistent, he probably has more talent than Tuukka Rask.
Yeah, he's definitely more flexible, and I feel like Rask he's more calculated and he's more used to the teams that he sees.
And he doesn't take as many chances. He'll cut off an angle properly,
right.
Where I feel like Halak will rely on his athletic ability a little more.
Exactly. So he's younger and he will definitely take more risks.
Mm-hmm.
But, it ends up working out for him, like when, say, a certain scoring chance happens. It's amazing to see. And honestly, I feel privileged to be able to watch them.
Right now the Devils are trying to find one goalie that they like. The Devils are in a terrible way right now.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be.
Yeah. And the Bruins have two goalies who can clearly play NHL level hockey at a top level. And, even that one goal, that wasn't even that great. But, and I don't mean to keep
I don't want to hear it.
Down, but
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it anymore with the listen, earlier in the year, the Habs beat the Bruins, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but the Bruins.
It was 6-5, but they still beat them. I don't want to hear
it. What's the record?
Stop it.
Yeah,
hey, listen,
what's the record?
Montreal is still playing well. They hit a little bit of a skid. They're doing what the Habs do. Start off well and then play terrible. Leave them alone.
Okay.
But so speaking of records, right now, Boston, they're playing tonight, so we'll see. But they are tied with the most points, 37 points with, I believe, the Capitals and
Caps. Yep.
Another team in the West. All you guys have 16 wins and I think 4
Islanders?
No, the Isles are third right now in the division.
Okay.
But so who are you feeling is the biggest threat to Boston? Because right now, we're looking for Boston Caps. I think Boston is deeper than the Caps. I think they're a better team than the Caps.
Yeah, their lines, I feel like, are way more. They have way more depth than what I've seen from the Caps. Like, I feel like the Caps have been, like, after the Stanley Cup, I feel like they've kind of been slowly
coming back down to the mean a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, Tampa Bay is still a really good team. Do they scare you? Because Tampa Bay has a slow start, but that's a good team.
Yeah, it is a good team, but I feel like the Bruins always play really well against the Lightning. I feel like they play well down in Tampa Bay, and I don't have their win-loss record, but I feel like that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I've always felt more confident against the Lightning. Maple Leafs, they still suck. So
not for long. They have the best GM in the history of sports there. So, no, he's gone. He built them up, and now he's on the Islanders. Sorry.
Oh, all right.
I'm talking about Lou Lamparello, the best GM ever to do anything.
That's debatable.
Listen, he took the Devils and made the Devils a monster. He took the Leafs and made them relevant when they were the worst team for 15 years. And now he has the Islanders sitting there believing that they can compete with anybody. And he turned the Islanders around in 2 years.
All right. Fair enough.
The guy's a wizard. But, all right, so I hate the fact that I can ask you this about all three teams.
Yes.
Championship. I think the Patriots are great, but they have questions. I feel like the Bruins have the best chance out of your three favorite teams we talked about tonight.
Right. I would agree. Because I feel like there's a lot.
Are you more confident with the Bruins to win it than anybody else?
Then those three. Yeah, yep. I feel like they're more. I mean, we just resigned Brendan Carlo. Who else? There was another signing today that I forget, but it was someone that wasn't Sean Corrali. But anyway, they re-signed 2 key players, and honestly, the Pasta, like looking at the Pasta deal, that was one of the best deals in hockey history. And you can look it up, but the fact that he was like 25th, he was like the 25th pick, and they signed him for as little as he did, that will go down as if he keeps playing like this, knock on wood. But honestly, yeah, I think the Bruins have the best chance of being the championship team in Boston this year comparatively to the Celtics. I don't think the Celtics can do it against, a couple of the teams. Like the way that Giannis is playing, he's been dropping 40 points a game.
He's playing unbelievable basketball, and and if he could start shooting threes, then he's a generational talent, completely and totally.
There's no way that anyone can stop him.
Yeah,
and so the Bruins definitely, I feel like, and the Patriots, I'm not convinced on the offense. So,
but then again, every time we're not convinced on the offense, Tom Brady goes out for 20 touchdowns, 2 picks over the next final games, and it's like, oh, really? You weren't convinced? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
That's just how it always goes down. So, and also, can we put this to bed that Boston fans can never? They have another 3 decades of not playing the woe is me nonsense against New York fans ever again. Because when we were growing up, it was always the Boston fans oh, we haven't won anything.
Yeah.
Enough.
You know what? And
they still walk around like pouty Eeyores.
No, I don't walk around like a pouty Eeyore. I mean, I'm pissed. I'm pissed when my team loses, but I don't know. Like I said before, I would say that
you're a reasonable Boston fan, but you have to say many of your fan base. Listen, yes. New York fans, here's the thing. It's not that they're unreasonable. A lot of New York fans have been told their whole lives that they're so knowledgeable about sports that they believe it, and most of them are idiots. So that's one thing I always hate about New York sports fans, especially Knicks fans. Knicks fans are the worst. They know basketball. They don't know anything. They're awful. But
we won in 1960,
We won in the strike shortened year.
Yeah.
We can at least mutually hate the Knicks.
What? That's true.
Yeah, we can mutually hate them.
Yeah. But I mean, I would agree. Yeah.
Boston is the evil empire now. That's just a fact.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, yeah. I will say, sure. You know what? Fine.
Oh, quick thing, because we're going to go over time, but I don't care about this because this topic is probably pissing you off as much as me.
Yep.
How do you feel about the Astros and what the hell should happen to that franchise and team?
Ooh, all right. So, I mean, it didn't happen to me because I'm not a Yankees fan, but I would.
You are a baseball guy.
I would be pissed if I were a Yankees fan and that came out that they were stealing signs. I mean, it's coming from not Deflategate, but Spygate, all that stuff. That would piss me off as an opposing fan. But, should they vacate the World Series? I'm still torn on that. But I feel like there should be some. I think that Rob Manfred should maybe set a precedent.
I think AJ Hinch should be suspended for half the year.
Okay.
I really do. I feel like he should be gone, but I had on Alan Hahn from ESPN Radio New York 98.7 a few weeks ago, and he said that from what he thinks, him and Michael Kay both said this, that they should have a payroll cap put on them so that they can't spend as much as they want for the next few years, or lower their luxury tax. Bottom line, hit him in the pocket because draft picks don't matter. And I said vacate it too, and he laughed at me, and I said I could do that because I'm an irrational fan. But he said that wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't do anything. It would just be they would just make him martyr, but it wouldn't do anything at all. It wouldn't really be a penalty.
Yeah, he's going down with the ship, and it doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. It wouldn't be a penalty at all, so I agree with that. So I would love the payroll tax. Just make them pay $1 million bazillion for make them not be able to get the big time player that they want to get.
Right. I mean, and the salary cap in baseball is insane compared to.
It isn't. Doesn't exist. It has a luxury tax where it's a bunch of billionaires owning teams are A-okay with paying.
Right. And it's a joke at this point. I mean, look at the highest paid teams the past probably 30 years, and you'll probably see most of the same teams, and most of them have
Rangers, the Dodgers, and the Yankees. Really, those would have been the 3 big time spenders. But I also think
Red Sox have been
They've been up there, but I also think for fun they should investigate the Red Sox and just put a luxury tax on them or payroll cap on them for fun.
Listen,
Just because.
yeah,
Just because.
yeah, yeah. Why the hell not? Yeah,
Just because I'm an irrational New York fan.
yeah, of course. Yeah. All right.
All right.
But,
You got anything else, Kevo?
no, just that I do like Sammy D, and I do hope he does well. I just hope it's not with the Jets.
Well, honestly, we're in a trap game this week against the Bengals, and this is the exact game that with 3 weeks of momentum, a good win against a playoff team or potential playoff team, we go in and we lay an egg. And Andy Dalton's playing again. AJ Green looks like he's healthy and possibly coming back. This is the perfect storm for the Jets to lose and not score a single point.
Awesome. Love it. Love it.
But on
he'll be seeing ghosts again.
Stop it. On that positive note, that's going to conclude this episode of the Sports Opinions podcast. My good buddy Kevin Viccaro. I hope everyone enjoyed listening to him. Thanks for coming on, Kevo.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Now, Kevo doesn't use social media because he is a school teacher, and that would be really, really bad if terrible human beings like me and our group of friends would be able to spam him, and his students would be able to see it. So if you want to find Kevo, you could just kind of go through me, and I'll hook you up. How does that sound, everybody? Sound good, Kevo?
Sounds good.
All right. So again, I'm Alex Cuesta, host of the Sports Opinions podcast. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at @A_Cuesta30. Find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30, Instagram Sports Opinions 30. Search for us on Facebook, subscribe, like, and wherever you're listening, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, YouTube, anywhere you can get a podcast, make sure you give us a follow, a subscribe, a like, whatever it is, 5-star rating, leave a nice review. And if you ever want to come on, hit me up. You don't have to be a big-time sports guy. You don't have to be anything. As long as you have an opinion about a sport, you're welcome. So again, everyone, I really appreciate you listening. Have a good one, everybody.